So, hello guys, welcome to another SCRANCAM after a brilliant result in the end. Manchester United 3-1 versus West Ham. Another fantastic comeback away from home. Brilliant performance in that second half, especially the last half an hour. Where to start with all that, Dak? What are you making of the game? What would you say about that?
I mean, the stat I'm going to bring up straight away is that in 45 minutes, Bruno Fernandes managed to create 8 chances. That's more than any player in the Premier League has managed to do in a full game. In a full game, he did it in half that. Half.
Ridiculous. What a player. It was fantastic substitutions from Solskjaer. And in the second half, we were much better. I mean, I don't want to sort of put a dampener on it straight away, but on the balance of play on the chances, I know we scored some fantastic individual goals, but looking at expected goals, West Ham 2.79, United just 1.3. So as much as, we scored some great goals, it was great to watch in that second half, the last 30 minutes. We conceded a lot of good chances, especially in that first half. We could have got into half time 3 or 4 down. So it works both ways.
Yeah, completely. I mean, Rob Green at half time, and if Rob Green's saying it, there must be something going wrong at this club. If it has to take spiky gelled haired Rob Green to say that zonal marking is an absolute farce. How are we with 7'7" Maguire, who's built like me but made out of muscle? Victor Lindelof, who's about 6'1". We've got Paul Pogba, 6'3", 6'4". We've got some Scott McTominay. Yeah, he's about 9'2", even though he was 3'1" 2 years ago.
Yeah.
How are we getting beat in the air? I mean, obviously, Souček, he's a great aerial player, but it's just basic. It's as I put a tweet out at half time. It's chip shot defending. Everyone's standing there like that, looking like they're waiting for their order. Yeah, I'll have number 3, please, boss. I'll have a battered sausage. It's just stupid. What is it? This is the Premier League, Cam. This is the Premier League. I don't even think I would coach my players doing that. You know what I mean? And I'm Mr. Blobby. How can I see that as Mr. Blobby? How can you see that as Cam, the stat man Cam? How come Rob Green can see it and he's got slippery fingers? Why can't Carrick see it? Why can't McKenna see it? And why can't Solskjaer see it?
It's a disgrace. But the worst bit about it is the ball came in the exact same area it did against Southampton last week, and that's the same. We lost the first header both times. Obviously, it went in straight away from Southampton, I think, and this time it was a flick on. But we're not winning the ball, and that's the most important thing of zonal marking. You've got to win your zone. You've got to have that ball away. You've got to get rid of it. Whether it's Maguire, whether it's whoever else, and in that team, you've got to win your zone. You've got to get the ball out. It's a disgrace.
And another thing I want to bring up as well is Alex Telles. I think many people are going to start to slate him as the week goes on. I think people are going to say, he's not very good. He's not very good defensively. I think Alex Telles, and I'm just going to say that to the people that are watching, them 3 people that are watching, that Alex Telles is a long-term investment for when we build a team that can basically play to his strengths. He's good. He's okay, defensively. He's not awful. Football hipsters would have you believe that he can't defend. As soon as he steps into his own half, he turns into jelly. That's not the case. He is a solid defender, and on his day can be good at defending. Luke Shaw, on the other hand, he's just a class defender. Really, you can see that. There's not many left backs in the world that are as good as Luke Shaw defending. Going forward, Telles offers so much. I mean, you look at the Greenwood finish, which was a finish. If you look at the Greenwood goal, that came from a Telles ball in. It wasn't the best ball in, but it was still a ball in. Probably a ball in, one more ball in than we'd get with Luke Shaw playing there. But, people are just going to slate him as the weeks go on. I can see it coming. And it's basically because of Harry Maguire. And that's all it is.
I noticed that a lot of times. Telles was having to cover Maguire, come really narrow. And there was I think a time when Jared Bowen just skinned the whole defence because Telles was way too close to Maguire. It is frustrating, isn't it, seeing still that we've got such a good player potentially in Telles going forward, but he's got to spend so much time covering Harry Maguire that we're just not getting the best out of him. It's a little bit annoying, a bit frustrating. I mean, obviously saying on Luke Shaw, look, I'm not going to have too much Luke Shaw praise on here because he's good defensively, but going forward, he doesn't do anything off his own back. He won't do anything unless he's screamed at him. He won't do anything unless it's so blindingly obvious that he needs to make it run. He's got no effort or desire to do anything off his own back going forward. I'm not a Luke Shaw fan at all. I can't lie. He's defensively great. Yeah, clearly defensively is good, but like in the back three is good, but just no. Luke Shaw's not for me now, man. No, not having that. But yeah, okay. Mason Greenwood, as you said, fantastic finish. That was, I mean, everyone's saying Van Persie-esque. Yeah, it was a brilliant, brilliant finish. That first touch to flick it up and over the defender. But the important bit about that is that he was sharp and he did it in one touch, because that's what we needed the whole game. Just that little bit of movement to turn and roll your defender, that bit of individual quality. And that's what we needed to make our attack stick in the first half, help us retain the ball. And yes, we saw it in the penalty area, basically in the 6-yard box from Greenwood or just outside. But we needed to see that all over the pitch in the first half. Players actually showing their quality, using their ability to have better touches. That's why they're better players, because their touch is better, their control's better. Show it. Greenwood did. Fantastic goal. But first half, no one else was. But look, all praise, everything positive about Mason Greenwood. Fantastic. He deserved his goal. I was delighted for him, as I'm sure you were.
I've said it time and time again, Cam. You know that probably Mason Greenwood's. He probably is my favourite player of the club. You know, I've told you as well that I've watched him since a young age. You know, I've spoken to you many times about him. I'm just so happy when even when I see his name on the team sheet, and I know that is an agenda in a way, because he can play a stinker and I'll still, like him. But you've got to understand that this kid is so special.
Yeah,
that's what people don't understand. I mean, they're starting to see it. It's one of the hardest positions in on the football pitch to mature into quickly. Like, he's going to have to. That, and I think maybe defensive midfielder and quite possibly centre back are the three that are quite difficult to mature into. I'd probably say, a striker is probably is the hardest to grow into.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Striker and defensive mid, it's difficult. It's difficult for a young player to come in and make those positions their own. I mean, it's a testament to how good Erling Haaland is that he's done that at Dortmund. But there's not many that can come in at such a young age, be so good as Greenwood has been, score so many goals, but still look like he's still got a lot of development ahead of him, put it that way. But what a player we've got on our hands. Like, we've said it so many times, as you say. But what he did there on his left, he could do that on his right in a different game. That's why he's so good.
Yeah, he's an absolute superstar, and he needs to be protected. He needs to be understood. He needs to be given time. And I know you've just mentioned it yourself. I do see it. These Van Persie comparisons, and he has got a stride like Van Persie. The way he's on the ball is Van Persie, but I don't want to compare him to Van Persie, because I don't think he's going to be the next Van Persie. I don't. I think he's going to be the first Greenwood.
Yeah,
he's going to be the
genuinely can be better than that. If Van Persie had 2 feet, well, I mean, to be fair, he scored goals on his right as well. But if he had 2 incredible feet, that's what Mason Greenwood can become.
This might sound crazy, because Van Persie is regarded as a Premier League legend, arguably a United legend, despite only one real good season here.
Yeah,
I think he is going to be better than Van Persie. I think he is.
Oh, yeah, and he's out of the academy as well. Look, we've said it so many times. If Greenwood stays at United for his entire career, avoids any major injuries, he could well be United's top goal scorer, record goal scorer. He probably will go on to break that record.
Easily. If you look at my favourite ever Manchester United player is Ruud van Nistelrooy. I have not seen a finisher as good as Mason Greenwood since him. Now, you're going to go a long way to have, for natural finishing to beat Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's something else. Absolutely. He's got a long way to go to get to Ruud. But for natural goal scoring, poachery, he can score what I call a Jermaine Defoe goal, which is just a little tap in, or a Glenn Murray goal. He can score what you've seen tonight, a Van Persie goal. He could do what Pogba did tonight as well. He's got every single shot, every single goal. He's almost complete. I think hold-up play needs to be fixed. Passing sometimes, although he was good tonight, I thought on the ball, he looked after it quite well.
Yeah, I was pleased with the link-up tonight.
And first time in the league he's been played centrally. And what does he do?
He went and scored a goal. And a brilliant goal at that. Look, obviously the change, he started out on the right. The change to bring him centrally was, so in the second half, obviously Rashford and Bruno Fernandes came on and made a massive, massive difference. Look, Anthony Martial did not have a good game. Cavani was poor in that first half at best. Rashford, massive difference. Fernandes, again, huge difference. But what was so important was it wasn't just that maybe they're in better form than the opposition. They were making the right movements. They were trying to go in behind. And with Fernandes now, he's getting to a level where he's almost like De Bruyne in a way. You can't just have one man on Fernandes, because if he turns that man, or if he thinks faster than you, which he always seems to do, he plays a nice layoff quickly, first touch, and he's gone. He's away from you. That ball's beyond you. So you need to have two men on him. It takes a player away from somewhere else. And all of a sudden, then you've got more space to move around in front of the defence, and you've got space to move around behind the defence as well. So just that impact now, the sort of the gravity Fernandes is starting to have on the pitch is something special, really.
And I'd just like to say something about Bruno, which I do think is going to be lost a little bit. And I've mentioned it to you when we were speaking on Twitter. The Pogba goal changed everything, and I'll come to that in a minute. But the way Bruno got that ball on the flank, and Marcus Rashford was in an acre of space. And it was a harder ball to whack it over to Rashford, who might have scored. He might have scored. But that layoff, the body feint and layoff to Paul Pogba for that shot was so intelligent from Bruno. And obviously, it was all Paul Pogba. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from Paul Pogba. That was an unbelievable goal. Yeah. But that from Bruno was such intelligence. And then going on to what that goal did for that team, it invited West Ham to break that compact defence that they had, to come out, created pockets. And what did we have in our team? Who many Pogba fans, and even me included, who I do love Paul Pogba, but I haven't said, the best things about him recently. His game is what, Cam? It's ball progression.
Yeah.
It's getting it forward and it's driving. And he had the spaces, and he had the player in Bruno Fernandes to pass to into the 10 spaces to cause problems. He had Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford causing problems running in behind, and he had the chance, if he needed to, for a Mata to come deeper to receive the ball and then to ping it out, like you saw for what Bruno did when he pre-assisted the ball to Mata, who pinged it out to Rashford, and we had 3-1. That was so important, that goal. It was unbelievable. As soon as we have space and as soon as we have the ball, it is imperative that we have two players in a pivot, that one of them is defensive and one of them can progress the ball, whether that's Fred Pogba, whether that's McTominay Pogba, whether that's McTominay Van der Beek, whether that's Van der Beek and Fred. We need someone in that pivot who can progress the ball like Pogba or Van der Beek can. Because
it's simple,
it creates so many chances.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it's what we've been crying out for so long. And imagine if we had a player who was defensively as good as McTominay or Fred, which, look, they're decent defensively, but it's not the highest bar in the world. It's not sort of Kante. It's not sort of prime Sergio Busquets or Fernandinho. If we had a player who could do a good job defensively and progress the ball, how good we'd be then?
I think the player that you'd want for that, I mean, you're never going to get him in a million years, but it's Saul Niguez, isn't it, from Atletico Madrid?
Yeah.
He's so good at holding on to the ball. He's so good at defending, and he's so good at playing the ball through. I mean, obviously, Thiago was what I thought, but he would have been the key. But obviously, I keep saying it, but he's gone to Liverpool, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the defensive midfield is so important now, and I'm going to say it every week until we sign one, how important it's going to be. Going on to Marcus Rashford, though, I thought, I've not been his biggest fan, and I've said this also before. Every time I think Marcus Rashford might not be that good, and I might have just been overrated him, he goes and drops a 9 out of 10. He goes and drops a 9.5 out of 10. He goes and scores a goal. He goes and creates something. I mean, he could have had 2 or 3 tonight. I mean, he should have had 2, at least.
Yeah. I tell you what, look, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial, they are the best finishers at the club, or at least Martial was before whatever happened this season happened. But look, those two are fantastic finishers. But in a big game, there's no one you want more on your team than Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. The two of them. Every time there's a big game, it doesn't matter who it's against, whether it's against City or whether it's against Spurs. I was going to say Arsenal, but that's not a big game anymore. But anyone really, you trust Marcus Rashford to get in front of goal and put the ball in the back of the net. It's simple. And look, he'll probably play against Leipzig and he'll probably score because he's a big game player. Martial, for as good as he is at finishing and as good as Greenwood is, they've not quite developed that just yet. I think Greenwood will get there in time. But Marcus Rashford right now, it's the personality, the ability. It's sort of what's in his head as much as his ability itself. He steps up when it matters, and he's fantastic at doing it. He may not be the most rounded player yet. He's still a bit raw, still a bit erratic in certain parts of his game. But when it matters, in a big game, when United need him, he's the one that steps up and puts the ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely. I think you've got to commend Marcus, really. There was something like 8 big games against, like, say, PSG, City, Spurs, and he scored like 8 or 9 goals. It's mental. And he even got another one against PSG, didn't he? Even though it was deflected.
Yeah.
We've got a big game against Leipzig in midweek, really, and that's going to be the litmus test to see if he will step up again, because we need him. We do need him at his best.
Him and Bruno, they're the important players in the side. They're the talisman now. They're the really, really vital ones. They've got to step up. Now, you're talking a little bit about Paul Pogba earlier. One thing I do want to touch on quickly was defensively, especially. Pogba really impressed me because his work rate defensively today was a hell of a lot better than we've seen. So maybe it's that he's fitter now, maybe he's sharper, recovered from COVID, whatever it is. If you get the defensive side of the game, not even necessarily winning all the tackles, winning all the duels, but just the work rate from Pogba, if he can match anything like what McTominay or Fred do, he's assured he's got to start every game.
He looked like he wanted to play for us today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This is the frustrating thing, is that he doesn't always look like that. But yeah, when he's like this, when he's in this kind of form, working hard, he's got to be in our team. He's got to start every week. If he's playing like this, you can't leave him out.
You know, remember when we used to try and sign players to unlock Pogba? I think Pogba playing not even how he did today, because I think he's 2 or 3 levels away from being how he can play.
Yep.
But even just how he's playing today, that can unlock us having a proper title charge. He's the player that could be the player that's defensively great and ball progresses brilliantly.
Yep. You saw that finish for his goal. That is a really, really hard finish. He's not just whacked it. He's not just gone straight through that ball. He's controlled it perfectly. Just right into the it's the inside netting pretty much on the right hand side. But the way he's just the technique to get across that and just wrap your foot around it. When the ball's moving as well, at that sort of pace, just running onto it, adjusting your run up, all of that sort of stuff, brilliant. That's a top finish, and genuinely, I don't think there's many other players in the world that could do that. At least not regularly. I mean, we've seen it from Pogba a few times. He's that sort of range he does score goals from. I mean, he's obviously, when you shoot him from that kind of range, you're going to miss a few as well, but Pogba gets it right more often than most. And if we can get him, as you say, anywhere like he can play, he's a hell of a player. And yeah, you know what? We're in the top 4, 2 points off first place. We're not a million miles off the title race.
We are in the title race. We are in it. We have to be in it. If we win our game in hand, would we go top? Would we?
Not sure. I think we're on 10 games played. I think I'm not really sure what the table is. I'll get it up for a second. But yeah, I think it's we're definitely not far away, and it's exciting that we've had in some ways had such a bad start, but we're able to still be within touching distance of the title. Now, so yeah, everyone's on 10 games played so far. We'll see what happens after the Chelsea game, but yeah, we're right in the mix if we win the game in hand. Definitely, yeah.
I think Gary Neville hit the nail on the head. He said, if you said to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and United fans, you only need a draw away. I mean, forget how we played. Forget how we played. Performances. If you just need a point at Leipzig to go to the last Champions League, you're
lagging out a bit. But so you're saying. So I think what it was Neville was saying that if you would have offered us at the start of the season, being this far off the top, a couple of points, and you just need a point from Leipzig away, we'd have bit your hand off. We'd have taken that 100%.
Yeah. Especially
after, and look, that's before the start of the season. After the first couple of games, when they were that bad, the performances were that awful. We looked so far off the pace, basically using the first 5 games as pre-season. Of course, we'd have taken that. So look, I mean, there was a massive overreaction, people calling for Ole's head and stuff after a couple of games. But look at where we are now, and obviously the table's compact, so it can change in a couple of weeks. We could be sort of in 10th, 12th place in 2 weeks if we lose our game. But where we are now, it's looking healthy, and we are genuinely looking like we could be in the mix for the title this year.
Am I still lagging, by the way? Or am I
no, I think you're good now.
Well, another thing as well everyone's not really thinking about is, no matter under what manager we've been at, historically, Manchester United have always done better after Christmas as well. That's just a fact. So if you look at that as well, and you think about what we did, if we run in any way, shape, or form close to what we did post Bruno, if we got to the end of the transfer window like we did with Bruno, and we're like say 5 points off the top, we are in a serious title race, a serious one.
Honestly, we're not far at all. I think we will be in the mix come the end of the season, barring an injury to Bruno Fernandes. He's the one player in this United team. If he gets injured, we're in serious trouble. But everyone else, it sounds bad saying everyone else is disposable, but honestly, Fernandes, if we keep Fernandes fit, we'll be in the title race at the end of the season.
He just 100%. Makes everyone look better, so much better.
Exactly.
He's such a
with Fernandes, yeah, I don't care if it's Rashford and Mata on the wings, if it's Dan James and Greenwood, whoever it is. If they're playing with Fernandes, they look 10 times better. He's the one we got to keep fit. He's the leader. He's the conductor of the orchestra. All those football phrases. But yeah,
he's the glue.
Yeah, he's the one that holds everything together, and he's so vital for us now. He's so important, and if we can keep him fit, anything's possible this year. The Champions League, maybe. Look, it sounds ridiculous. If we go and do the double this season, build the statue.
What would you do if we got the quad? If we won the League Cup,
oh my God,
the League and the Champions League. That would outdo 50. That would.
Bloody hell! Like the banter the rival fans would be getting for that off us.
You know, we do this, we try and do it after every game. Obviously, I didn't do it after the PSG game, mainly because I was so deflated. I didn't really have much to say.
Yeah, exactly.
But this United team is so strange. I'm sitting there, and I like to think I know. I've got some semblance of an idea of A, how football should be played, Cam, and also B, what it makes to make a team work. Like, you seen me, well, you didn't see me, but I messaged you, didn't I? And I was berated for his changes. Yeah. On paper, them changes, before I obviously knew the facts, shouldn't have really worked. Like, you should be taking Martial off, really. You should be doing whatever. But obviously, Cavani was injured. I don't know if you know that. Did you hear that? He's got a muscle injury. It just seems to be work. Everything he does seems to work.
It's mad, isn't it? It's the way it's all working out.
But it makes me think: is this guy that just so good that everything he does looks like a fluke? Like he's that much of a genius, or is he just the most incredibly luckiest person I've ever met in my entire life? Because football Twitter would have you believe that he's got like a curse on Manchester United. Whenever he needs a result, he gets one.
Oh, he seems to. I don't know how he does it, but every single time he pulls it out of the bag somehow. It's ridiculous, but we'll take it. Like, look, if he can get lucky to win a quad, why not? You take it, wouldn't you? You're not going to complain.
Well, I suppose that's my. That was always my argument, though, when people said, "Well, Poch got to a Champions League final. Well, he was lucky to get to that. He was lucky to get to that final, but he fights press a button now to go into a Champions League final, but." Like proper shit out my way there. Do you think I'm not taking it?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course I am. Of course I'm pressing 100%. That button.
Every time, yeah. Like I don't even know what to say about Ole anymore. There's clear problems with there's things he's not done well, but he just gets it every time somehow. The changes work. I don't know how it's frustrating because when we lose, we're awful. But when we don't lose.
Imagine if he had a proper transfer window.
I mean, there's rumours I saw today that the board are going to back Ole in January. So if that happens, it could be huge for United. And look, we saw a couple of years back before Liverpool went in the season they got to the Champions League final. Obviously, Karius had other ideas for them then, but in that season they started to build a really, really good home record. I think they went on a run of sort of 30 odd games without losing at home, something ridiculous like that. I don't want to sort of put a curse on it, but away from home, United are doing that already. And if we can keep that up, when we got our fans back at Old Trafford, we're not going to lose any games, are we? At this rate, winning everything.
I just hope that there's going to be some sort of tier change for United in the next week, so we get fans back at Old Trafford for the City game. Would you be able to go to one of them games?
Yeah, I think so. I think if the tier change happens, it'll be awesome. I think City will come too soon for it, but. I think it's the Leeds game they're looking at being the first one.
That would be incredible.
That'll be mental. First game back at Old Trafford, it's Leeds.
Can't wait to see Scott McTominay score a own goal in person. Lovely. Do you want to just have a quick word on Anthony Martial?
Yeah, all right. I mean, look, today, not his best game. He's had a shocking patch of form lately. He's not even. I mean, I know last game you were all right with his all round game generally, apart from his finishing. But today, everything was off. All round game was horrible. He wasn't working hard. He wasn't offering anything. He was shocking. I don't know what it is, but he's having a tough time right now, Anthony Martial.
I'm not going to excuse him because he deserves everything that he's getting now for that miss on Wednesday night. That was awful.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But I wonder if he was just like nursing that injury. Anyway,
potentially,
it's not an excuse. But he just looked a little bit restricted in everything he did. Everything. He just looked a yard off the pace. On a different day, though, he could have definitely scored. I thought he tested the keeper very well.
That one near post.
Yeah,
I think it was first half. Yeah, that could have gone in. Yeah, we've seen similar finishes to that from Martial before a lot of times. And yeah, it could have gone in the back of the net. I think it's just one of those where he needs a goal. Let's say he gets it in Leipzig. He gets an 85th minute winner in Leipzig. Then you never know. He'll be off and running, and before we know it, he's gone to run a 5-game score in every one. So I think he just does need that little bit of good fortune right now.
Well, just like I said before about United, I think Martial scored the majority of his goals last season after Christmas as well.
Yep.
So
takes a while to warm up.
We'll put it this way, if we're waiting for Martial to come into form, and arguably before today, well, you can't say he's in form after one goal, but Greenwood hasn't been firing, as people will say. He's this, that, and the other. Do you think, it's only going to strengthen our chances? If you get
it this way, this team are nowhere near the potential they can play at. Not even just long term, but in the short term as well. We're not playing at the top of our game yet. There's still gears to go up. So yeah, look, we've said it so many times today, and in previous SCRANCAMs as well. But we're going to be in that title race, 100%, and we're going to be in the mix for winning trophies this season. Whether it's Champions League, whether it's FA Cup, whether it's League Cup, I don't know, but we'll be in the mix for trophies, and we'll be in that title race.
Mm.
I'm not saying we'll win the title, but we'll be there or thereabouts. And to be fair, that's, as a United fan, that's what you want to see. That's what you need to see. So it's encouraging. We're finally seeing signs of progress. Now, before we finish, Leipzig predictions. How do you see that one going?
Well, last time I predicted something, I got it right. I said that we'd be, well, not completely right, but I got the actual result right. I said we'd lose to PSG 2-0, didn't I? It's away from home, so I'm going to give it. I actually think we're just going to get the job done and get a draw and finish probably second in the group.
Yep, fair enough. I mean, looking at the potential outcomes, potential teams we could draw for finishing second in the group, it's not looking encouraging. There are some good teams about, but you're gonna have to beat a good team at some point if you want to win the Champions League. So there we go. And I think on our day at this point, we can beat anyone. So let's be optimistic. I think for me, I think I agree with you. I think we'll get a draw, do it the hard way as we always seem to do. It'll go right to the end, but yeah, I think we'll get through. And until Tuesday, then that's it from myself and Dak. Unless you've got anything else to say, but yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys again very soon.
See you.